How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name's RuffledRowlit. I don't know why I'm doing that accent. Either way, welcome to a brand new video, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at some Pokemon leaks, rumors, all that kind of stuff. Let's get started. First things first, going to be this post right here from none else than Moot. Moot, of course, is the person who's been leaking a lot of the Gen 10 stuff in recent times. So if you haven't kept up with who he is, that's the general gist of it. He's usually leaking a lot of anime-related stuff, but lately he's also been doing Gen 10-related stuff. So here's what he has to say. He says, by the way, I don't think I said it here, but the next Gaia update post will be in June. What does he mean by this? Well, basically, Gaia is the codename for Pokemon Generation 10, which is the next generation of Pokemon, like the next big game after Legend ZA, and Gaia is the codename for it. It's the name that's used by Game Freak and developers over at Pokemon, right? It's the name they use to secretly work on the project, without saying the actual name of the game or the games they're making, right? So that's what he refers to. So what he's implying here is that the next piece of information we're going to get in regards to Gen 10, alongside the stuff he's already told us about, like the Majins and the whole, like God Pokemon and all that kind of shit, he's basically more or less saying that, hey, the next piece of information will be in June, and I should have some verified new info by then. Heard some interesting stuff about the starters and some other new Pokemon, which again, sounds interesting. If true, we'll see if it actually does come out and ends up being anything, so definitely stay tuned with that. I'm going to retweet it, so anybody who follows me will see it as well if they haven't already. But yeah, basically, that's the update from Moot. It's a very short one, so do keep that in mind. But in regards to when will we actually see any information, well, Generation 10 reveal will only happen next year on Pokemon Day. So you got to be aware, you're not going to see, Gen 10 until next year. But there is something else, though, which is, where is Legend ZA? We haven't spoken about ZA in a while, but where is ZA at this point? Well, we are now about 8 days into May, and I'm going to tell you right now, usually Pokemon trailers for games that are coming out at the end of the year or towards the second half of the year, usually a new trailer has to happen around May or August. That's the time they usually do it. But the biggest thing is, in May has been the month for the last few years where they specifically show us the box art and the release date. Oftentimes, May is when they do that, and they usually do this not through a regular Pokemon Presents, which is what we normally get, but rather, the way they do it in May is by just randomly dropping a trailer. Like, they will just shadow drop a trailer out of nowhere. Usually, we're not prepared for it. Sometimes, very few times, they will tell us ahead of time, but most of the time, boom, it just happens, right? It just happens out of the blue, and it's not something you can really predict, so keep that in mind. But of course, we'll have to wait and see if anything does come from that. There hasn't been any updates from Ku besides like a post back all the way in, freaking April, but that was to do with like, I think, like megas and like what mega forms we're going to get. The whole I am L, of course, referring to the character of L or Lysander, which is going to be in Pokemon Legends EA. So he hasn't really, also the banana looks way too sketchy, but it hasn't been like an update from him in a while. And usually he does tweet when things are like on the, like in the, peripheral view. He did tweet this like back on the 2nd of May, which is just a picture of Regice, and just a few typings included. So he had like the numbers 1 and 2 here, and then just a bunch of like, typings, logos, I guess. People try to take this as either like maybe him hinting at something, or this is just a picture of him playing Pokemon TCG Pocket. Sometimes he does tweet this kind of stuff more like as a just, hey, this is what I'm up to type of tweet. People have been trying to figure it out. Rigatoni here says, new Reggie's type Fire, Grass, and Psychic or Fairy. I doubt that's what he's trying to hint at. Somebody says, I believe this is only done with Porygon Z, Gen 10, Greek Temples, Greek Region, Regice, maybe getting 2 new forms. Again, I don't know if that's what this is referring to in any way, shape, or form. I have no idea. Maybe it is. Maybe that's why he tweeted this, or it's just a random tweet. But what I'm saying, though, is we haven't seen much from him besides this one tweet on the 2nd of May. So who knows? This could also be implying, because it says 1 and 2, 1, 2, right? So maybe he's talking about 12, like specifically referring to 12 as in the 12th of May, as in we might get a trailer on the 12th of May, which would make sense because it would be a Monday. And Pokemon news do happen on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, oftentimes. That's the trifecta of days where we do get Pokemon news. So it is a possibility we might get it on the 12th. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, it's all speculation, isn't it? Again, it's speculation. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see if we learn more about it. I don't really know. It's all up in the air right now. Maybe I'm just talking shit. But that's pretty much that one. Now let's move on to a 4chan post. So this is a 4chan rumor. There's 2 of those today we're going to be covering. So let's start with the first one, which is this one right here. Odysseus is what it says, or Odyssey, Odysseus, whatever you want to say. And it says the following. This is about Gen 10's anime in particular, apparently. So the Gen 10 anime information, codename Odyssey or Odysseus. The protagonist is a 10-year-old boy, okay? No Liko, no Roy, and no Satoshi. And Satoshi, for those you don't know, is just Ash Ketchum. Travels the Gaia region, solving various problems on hundreds of islands. Okay, he has the water starter. The water starter is a tiny, cute horse. That's it for now. So what is this implying? Well, this is talking about the next Pokemon anime, more or less, for Generation 10, which is next year. Because yes, we have more or less had it almost confirmed that this Pokemon anime right now, Horizons, will be ending. Like, this is not like Ash Ketchum's journey where there's going to be an infinite amount of episodes and it's going to go on for like an infinite amount of time and never end. No, there is a finality and conclusion to this game that is going to happen. Like, there will be a finality to it. As such, the question then becomes, what will the next anime be? Well, he's implying that it's going to be, I guess, codenamed Odyssey. So implying like similar to like the Odyssey, which is like the story of like Odysseus who travels to, I mean, what does he travel again for? I think he travels to get a lady, a woman, something along those lines, or he goes to fight Troy, fights a battle, then they defeat them with a Trojan horse. Then he's supposed to get back home. But trying to get back home, he gets stuck on a long journey, stuck on a bunch of islands, dealing with the Cyclops, I think cheating on his wife. Point is, that's the Odyssey. So this would imply that maybe we'll be seeing something like that, where like our character sets out on an initial journey, and then the way to get back home is going to be a long journey that's going to take him through a bunch of islands and stuff like that. Kind of like the Orange Islands of Pokemon. If you guys remember Orange Islands, which was kind of like a filler arc before Johto came out, which is crazy, but yeah. So this would imply that the water starter also is a tiny, cute water, or like, what is it, like a water horse? By water horse, I wonder if they mean like a seahorse or like a, you know, like one of those like horsey, or if they mean like just literally a water horse, kind of like Keldeo-ish, I would assume. Maybe. I don't really see a water horse, like a horse starter Pokemon. Just doesn't seem that likely in my personal opinion. But I digress. Anything is possible, okay? We've seen crazier shit out there, so just all I'm going to say. Nonetheless, though, let's move on to the next thing, which is going to be another 4chan post. Now, this one is not about this one's not about Gen 10, but it's about Legends ZA. And it says the following. Trailer by Anonymous had access to the new ZA trailer. And this was posted, like, today. Dropping on the 14th of May, which is going to be, when is that? Wednesday next week. So like a week away, essentially. Apparently, so that's what he says. Release date revealed during this, which, yes, I do think whenever we do get the next trailer, that trailer will include the actual release date. Like, without a doubt, it will include the release date. Like, I do not even, like, it's not even a question, okay? Like, it's for a fact going to happen, right? Which makes me wonder, I've got to really plan out my days, because if they do drop these trailers, man, like, I want to make sure that, like, I'm able to actually cover it, but we'll see. Nonetheless, though, dropping on the 14th of May, release date is revealed, box art revealed, apparently, which, yes, that would make sense, because, again, box art does get revealed in May. That's what they've done so many times before. I think they did it for BDSP and Legends Arceus as well, so it definitely does happen. No new Mega Evolution shown. It wouldn't surprise me if that's true. A new professor shown. That would make sense. All Gen 1 starters and Sycamore in a singular scene makes sense as well, because he's the one who gives them to you. And then Zygarde's 50% form, and everything. That's everything I know, apparently. So yeah, a very small, short rumor. It's not really a lot of meat on here, but I'm gonna be real. It sounds realistic. Like, May, as I already told you earlier, this is when we do expect new, you know, like, this is when we expect new trailers, okay? This is the time when we expect new trailers. So it's not that crazy, but not just that. This is the time frame for them to announce it, because remember, this game is not coming out, you know, in December or November. It's supposed to come out somewhere around in November or December. It's coming out somewhere around September, October. Like, it's not coming out at the end of the year. It's coming out late 2025 is what they said. But on the Japanese website, they said autumn. And autumn could be anywhere around there. Actually, no, they said fall, sorry, not autumn, like fall or whatever. The point just being that, like, this game might drop in September or October, right? It doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily drop. Like, October is the most likely one, is what people are saying. November, if it's November, they would have just said winter, or they would have just said end of the year. The fact that they said, like, late 2025 implies that it could be anywhere in between there, too. It could be, like, earlier, it could be later, it could be anywhere around that time frame. But the general span is September until, I want to say, like, beginning of November. Like, that's the time frame we're working with. And if it's coming out that time, then we need a release date now. People need to start getting their pre-orders in. You know, people need to start getting prepared, because, like, keep in mind, this game is also going to have a release on the Switch too. And because it's going to have a release on the Switch too, they want to make sure that they get the pre-orders ready, because people are going to be wanting to play this game on their Switch too, because that's coming out in June. And if this game's coming out right later in the year, they definitely are going to want to have people on the Switch 2 already to be willing to go out and buy those, you know, packaged copies in the stores and stuff. So what I'm trying to say is, like, it only makes sense to announce the release date now because we're so close to the Switch 2 release as well in June. So I digress. We'll see what comes from it. We'll see what happens, how it turns out. It's all up in the air at the moment, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, just let me know your thoughts and opinions, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see what happens with this and what goes down with this. We'll see how it turns out. But yeah, again, your thoughts and opinions would be appreciated. Let me know what you guys think about this, and we'll go from there. Next thing though is to do again with about, I think, Gen 10. This is a post from Soul Silver. Says that he's convinced that Alola wasn't featured in the first part of Pokemon Horizons for the same reason we saw in the Freak League meetings. They want to stay as far away from islands as they can because of Generation 10. They may also go to Alola eventually, but not moving from island to island. They'll probably just go to one island and then back to another region, if they even keep up the whole traveling between regions thing. They did it with the RVT before this new Mega Voltage arc. So what we're talking about here is the fact that, like, the reason that Horizons hasn't featured maybe, like, specifically Alola, because somebody did hear, like, Pokemon regions mentioned in Horizons: Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Unova, Kalos, Galar, Paldea. The one that isn't in there is Alola, of course. They haven't gone to Alola, which is interesting. And again, it could be implied, or the reason for it is because it's an island, right? And they do not, or like multiple islands rather, and maybe they want to avoid that because they don't want to make a correlation between Alola and Gen 10. It's like almost like a way for them to be like, hey, this is something brand new. Because if people associate Generation 10 with Generation 7, they might make the connection of like, oh, it's the same thing. It's just the same thing. It's not a new generation. It's not something brand new and amazing. It's just the same shit again. And they want to avoid that. That's why they make sure that the anime doesn't go in that direction. You guys may have seen these email threads that we've spoken about this a few times. Maybe that's why they're trying to do it, specifically trying to avoid it. But anything is freaking possible at this point. Next thing, though, is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are now officially the second best-selling Pokemon games in history. Apparently, I think they surpassed Sword and Shield, which were the second best for a long time now. And yeah, there it is, for anybody who was curious about that. And finally, also, in case you guys play Pokemon TCG Pocket, there's been a data mine that apparently Ultra Beasts are now in the actual code for the game. And there's a code that now checks if Ultra Beasts are in, are being used. It's like a value check, just checks yes or no. And it's basically implying that it's likely we're going to get Ultra Beasts in the next set. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it for today's rumor video. Thank you all for watching. I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. And peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gents.